Hey everybody, this is Anthony for VR Game Rankings. Welcome to another episode of our daily VR news show. This, of course, is the daily vlog. We are now on episode 52. It is Wednesday, December 13th, and I've got a pretty interesting show for you today. One of the things that we're going to get into is your reactions to Fallout 4 VR. Yeah, I got a lot of comments yesterday on episode 51 about your guys' reactions to Fallout 4 VR. So I'm really interested in that. We're going to go ahead and cover that in some detail in just a little bit. But before we get to that, we got to go to the top story of the day. And the top story of the day is without question the Windows Mixed Reality Fire Sale. Okay, this is going on Microsoft's website. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up real quick and take a look at this. This is today's deal on the Microsoft website, up to $200 off select Windows Mixed Reality headsets. Now, unfortunately, a bunch of these are already sold out. So the Acer's Windows Mixed Reality headset with motion controllers, $200. $200, it is out of stock. The Dell Visor Windows Mixed Reality headset with motion controllers, $250. That one is out of stock. Now the Hewlett Packard for $250, it does not show it out of stock right now, so those might still be available. And the Lenovo Explorer Windows Mixed Reality, $200, $199. You get the controllers, you get the headset. It's showing it as still available. And then, of course, the Samsung Odyssey. Unfortunately, this one only $50 off. So this one is $450. So it's an incredible fire sale. And you have to wonder what is going on here. Is this disaster for Microsoft? Are these things just selling horribly? What is going on here? I don't know. I mean, is this great news? Is this horrible news? There's different ways we can look at it. On the one hand, you can think, oh my God, this is a disaster. They have to be losing money. $199 for the Acer mixed reality with the controllers. The Lenovo, $199. You get the controllers, you get the headset. How are they making any profit on this at all? Are they taking a bath on this? Why are they taking a bath on this? Is this just a Christmas deal? There's lots of thoughts that we can think about when it comes to this deal here, but man, this really caught me off guard. I was not expecting this. I'm not in the market to buy a Windows Mixed Reality headset. I am in the market for another Steam VR headset. I'm actually putting money off to the side, and I'm hoping for a major Steam VR headset announcement in the very near future. I really want built-in wireless, possibly higher resolution, possibly knuckles controllers thrown in the box. But I was unprepared for this Windows Mixed Reality fire sale. I'm almost tempted. I mean, there's a part of me that says, oh my God, dude, buy this Lenovo. It's $200. Just buy it. You'll have the Microsoft Mixed Reality headset. Who knows? They might have some exclusive experiences at some point. You could also play with the Clift House, and you can kind of learn some of that stuff. There's a part of me that says, dude, buy this. But another part of me is like, dude, why? Why would you buy this? You don't really need this. And the biggest problem really with the whole Microsoft mixed reality platform, if you will, is there's no exclusives. I said this from the very beginning. Where is Forza 7 VR? Where is Super Lucky's Tail VR? Where is a legitimate Halo VR experience that would actually make us get up off of our asses and buy one of these mixed reality headsets? That's the problem. Microsoft hasn't brought any specific software to this platform that makes you really desire it and makes you want to go out there and grab one of these headsets. Even with this fire sale, $200 off, being able to get a Lenovo for 199 bones and being able to have motion controllers and a headset, these things have higher resolution than a Vive and a Rift. You know, people have said, even using some of the crappy versions of these, not talking about the Samsung one, but even with some of the crappy versions of these Microsoft mixed reality headsets, some people say that a lot of the text looks better. You know, a lot of things are a little bit clearer, a little bit sharper because you do have that higher resolution. But I'm not running out to buy one of these because there's no real incentive. There's no key games on their platform that is calling me out and saying, please, oh please. Now, if there was Forza 7 in VR, that would at least be something. If there was Super Lucky's Tale in VR, that would be something. If they had a legitimate Halo experience, not Halo Recruit, which is really unfortunate, if they had some legitimate kind of Halo experience in VR, that would be something, but they have none of this. I'm working on VR game rankings on a daily basis, and I can tell you at VR game rankings, one of the major worries that I had is if you look at a lot of the rankings, what it will say is it'll say all 3 platforms. For example, Spark might be ranked on the top 50 best VR games for all platforms ranking, and it says Spark CCP games, and in parentheses it says all 3 platforms. Now, I was worried about this before the Microsoft mixed reality headsets were coming because I thought, am I going to have to change this to 4 platforms? You know, I'm saying all 3 platforms. Well, what are the 3? Obviously, they're the Rift, the Vive, PlayStation VR, and I had a worry that with Microsoft mixed reality, is this going to be a 4th platform? Am I now going to have to say, currently available for 3 of the 4 major platforms? You know, that's not going to sound right. That's going to come out kind of weird. Well, luckily, I don't have a problem because Microsoft Mixed Reality, it's not its own platform, at least not yet. It's not standing on its own. It doesn't have any exclusive games that really take it to that other level where you'd consider it its own private platform. There's nothing holding it up on a pedestal in any sort of way. All it has is basically rehashes of what we have on all of the other systems. Now, I'm not saying that Microsoft Mixed Reality is a total dud. There's some great advantages that it has in the fact that you do not need to have all these sensors all over the place. You don't have to put lighthouses in your corner. You don't have to have 4 Oculus sensors like I have. You don't have to have a lot of USB issues that I seem to have on a regular basis with running so many USB devices into my computer, needing to go ahead and get myself an Initech USB card so I can do all of this. So Windows Microsoft Mixed Reality, it does bring certain advantages to the table. It can run pretty well with integrated graphics from a laptop if you run it in more of the low resolution 60 Hertz mode. If you're just doing some basic tasks or watching 360 videos and doing some certain things like that, you can get away with that. So Microsoft Mixed Reality is bringing some interesting stuff to the table, but it is not its own platform. And even with this incredible fire sale, I don't know that I can really recommend it. The only way I can recommend this is just from a pure standpoint of, if you want your absolute cheapest way into the world of VR, you could buy that Lenovo Explorer headset for $200 and you could be playing super hot and it might work absolutely great. I know Steve from VR Roundtable, he played super hot on the Dell mixed reality headset, and he said it worked out great and the game played well. So I guess that is the one bright side, is that if you want, it's just your cheapest, absolute cheapest way into PC VR, you can do that with this mixed reality headset, and it is only $199, but I'm not tempted because they don't have any exclusives that are drawing me over there. Okay, so anyway, didn't want to waste so much time on that, but I did really think that this was pretty shocking. The price is incredibly low. This is a one-day deal, so it's not like they're abandoning mixed reality and it was a complete, total dud and they're just getting out of it and just selling these things off in a fire sale. It's not exactly like that, even though it almost seems like that. Okay, so let's go into the Fallout 4 reactions, and what we're going to do today is I'm going to look at your guys' reactions. We got a lot of comments on the YouTube page, of course. On our latest video, there was a lot of comments from you guys, and so I'm going to go ahead and go over these comments and kind of get into this. Okay, so Mr. Poopy Pants, I guess you would call it, Here's what he had to say. Fallout 4 VR was an obvious cash grab. Terrible mechanics, you can't even reload guns, a basic VR feature for any game using guns. I spent most of my time in menus. You can't open drawers or anything like that. You might as well download a VR game converting program and run the normal game. It would run and play better. Man, that is some definite fire coming from Mr. Poopy Pants. An obvious cash grab, terrible mechanics, you can't even reload guns. Okay, you can reload guns, although it is rather difficult, but I know I played it last night, and at one point I hit some type of button that did reload my guns. Of course, playing it on the Oculus Rift, I will say that you really don't know like what buttons do what. A lot of times I'm just kind of scrambling and trying to hit different buttons to get things to happen, but that's kind of a different problem in and of itself. Now, is this an obvious cash grab? No, I don't really think it's an obvious cash grab because I know Bethesda spent time and effort on this. Now, they worked with Escalation Studios that helped them with this to convert it to VR. And yeah, does it have a lot of problems? It does. Fallout 4 VR does have a lot of real problems, but I think this is one of those things where a couple of months from now, a lot of this stuff will be ironed out, and I don't think it's going to look quite as bad as it looks right now. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't open drawers and you can't explore things in the way that we'd really like to explore stuff in VR. But some of it is understandable. But, that's Mr. Poopy Pants with that comment. Kev M says, Fallout is terrible in VR, grainy as hell. Well, it is grainy. It is grainy. When you have an open world game like this, first of all, one of the problems that VR has in general, and you're going to notice this whether you're playing Skyrim VR on a PlayStation VR or whether you're playing Fallout 4 VR on a Vive, and even if you have the highest powered rig in the world, what you're going to notice is that when you start to look off in the distance, it really does become blurry and it does become smudgy. And when you're in an open world game where you can see way off into the distance, you're going to see that because you're going to be looking off into the distance and you're going to notice that it's grainy, it's kind of blurry, it's kind of fuzzy. And so, yeah, it is relatively grainy, and other people have said that when you do the new Steam VR beta that it fixes a lot of things and it's crystal clear and stuff. So we are getting some different comments on the performance, but that's Kev M with that comment. Okay, Rowdy Guy, here's what he says. People's expectations from VR are so unrealistic that they expect a 2-year-old game that is being ported to a completely different platform to be running with less bugs, better performance, more gameplay, better mechanics, and at a higher resolution. Is it perfect? No. Is it awesome? Oh yeah. So that's what Rowdy Guy has to say, and I kind of agree with a lot of his points here. This is a 2-year-old game. We are being a little bit unrealistic as well. And it's, this is a hard one to answer because I really think that the people that are complaining and they're so upset and they're so frustrated with this, they do have somewhat of a point here because we have to remember Bethesda is not charging $29.99 for this. They are charging the full $60 for this. This is a $60 banger. And when it comes to PC games, a lot of PC games aren't $60. Well, I mean, we do have games like, Raw Data, Arizona Sunshine, like some of our higher end VR games, they're $39.99. We don't have a lot of VR games that are up there at that $59.99 plateau, and Bethesda is charging full pop for this game. And so I can see with the high price, expectations should be high as well. But yeah, the bottom line with Fallout 4 VR, it was not created with VR in mind. Yeah, they're giving us the entire game of Fallout 4 VR, and in some ways that's bad news. When we first heard that the entire game of Fallout 4 VR was just going to be working, one of the downsides of that is that kind of tells us that they're not completely reworking Fallout 4 VR. In fact, what they're doing is they're modifying it to allow the entire game to run. It tells us that they're not completely reworking it. So we kind of had a hint way back a long time ago based on that it's not going to be completely reworked. I do believe there will be a day, like I do believe that Bethesda's next big game that falls in line with Skyrim or Fallout, the next game, the next one of those, hopefully they have a team that is building the VR game simultaneously with the flat version, and drawers will be able to be opened up. You'll see ammo on the ground. You'll actually pick it up with your hands, and it won't just be button presses and stuff like that. But I think it is a little bit unrealistic for us to expect that they could rework all of this. It would cost millions of dollars and take a lot of time for them to completely rework this game. I think that's a little bit unrealistic for people's expectations. So I do kind of agree with Rowdy Guy. Now, is it awesome? Yeah, you know, it is awesome at points. There are points of time where it is awesome and you are living the dream, but there are points of time where things kind of fall apart. So, you know, I'll get to that, and part of that is obviously my technical issues as well. Okay, Simon VA 99, here's what he had to say about it. Tried it for 10 minutes yesterday morning, EU, so I guess he's in the European territories. Tried it for 10 minutes yesterday morning before work and was meh about the graphics, and went to work thinking it looked like a day one patch. After work, patch had arrived, everything looks amazing and runs butter smooth, and I started playing. I'm in Concord, just about to power up the power armor. For me, Fallout 4 VR is exactly what I expected, a proper VR port of the original game. This is not a new game coded from scratch for VR. My only gripe is that it is a bit too much like revisiting Fallout 4 in VR, which is exactly what it is. This is my third replay, so I guess when the Fallout in VR experience wears off, I will shelve the game again. Had I never played Fallout 4, I would be so excited right now. Okay, so yeah, Simon is coming at this from a very interesting perspective because this is the third time he's played through Fallout 4 VR. So he's not going to have the same kind of experience that a lot of us are going to have. Now, I said that I put about 20 hours into the flat version of Fallout 4 VR the first time around. And so even though I experienced a lot of this content, I didn't finish the entire game of Fallout 4 VR. So there's going to be some new stuff for me. But yeah, if you've ran through Fallout 4 several times, once you get over that honeymoon period of having the Fallout 4 world completely surround you, once you get over that, it's going to be kind of the same old rigmarole, especially from the standpoint that, yeah, they did not code this game from scratch for VR, so it's not going to have a lot of what we really want to have. He says that Fallout 4 is exactly what he expected, and I kind of feel the same way. I kind of feel like what I got with Fallout 4 VR so far is pretty much what I was kind of expecting. It's not the dream of all dreams. It's not a complete and utter disaster either. It's somewhere in between there. Okay, the next comment I have is, I believe this is Gamer Guide. Okay, and here's what he has to say. It hasn't fixed anything. It now lags like hell on a computer like mine, which is a 5960 paired with 32 gigs of RAM and a 1080 Ti. Okay, this is one of the things that really scare me. So a lot of people will complain about the fact that I have a GTX 970, and I've had people tell me, they said, look, you're reviewing games, you're doing stuff, you're trying to comment on VR games, you need to get off that 970. You've got to get rid of that thing. You need to step into the modern day era. You need to get yourself a 1070 or a 1080 or even a 1080 Ti. And I've thought about that a million times, and I do want to do that, and I do want to get that. And I hope to get a new graphics card in the very near future. And so absolutely. But one of the things that scares me with this is I could go buy a 1080 Ti right now that could cost me like $800, because if you can't find it on any kind of a deal, it's like $800 or $900. It's ridiculous to get a 1080 Ti. It's really kind of outrageous. I've looked at the prices, right? And I could go ahead and buy that, and I could pop that into my computer, and you would think I'm forking out this incredible sum of money. I would pop that into my computer, and now Fallout 4 is this beautiful, magical world, and there's no frame drops, and there's no hitching, and there's no stutter, and everything is crystal clear, and I can see miles off into the distance, and it's crystal clear, right? No. No, it's not like that. I know people with 1080 Ti's that are having major issues. So that's what kind of pisses me off. You can go ahead and pay the piper. You can pay that 800, 900, whatever dollars it is to get yourself a 1080 Ti. And you would expect that all your dreams would come true, but that's not necessarily the case. How pissed off would I be if I forked over 800, 900 bones on a 1080 Ti and I'm still having issues like Gamer Guide is? This guy's got a 1080 Ti. He's got 32 gigs of RAM. He shouldn't be having these kind of issues, and that's kind of what sucks about PC gaming to a degree, because there could always be some weird freaking problem that gets in the way. That's why I kind of still like PlayStation VR, and it's kind of funny because in Upload VR, in their review for Fallout 4 VR, they actually say that Skyrim VR is a better game on PSVR than Fallout 4 VR is on these PC VR systems. And I kind of see what they're saying there, just from a standpoint of the game actually freaking works on the PSVR, because they got a locked in set of specs and they can dial that in, and there is an advantage to that. Okay, another comment we have is from Ripstorm, and he basically just says anti-aliasine. And yeah, so I don't know how to say this word. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. When I see anti-aliasine, that's the way I think it's pronounced. Am I wrong? Maybe it's pronounced some other way. My apologies. I don't know. I call it anti-aliasine. I might have some strange pronunciations of various words, and whatever. It is what it is. Okay, next comment we have is MAME Fan. Now, this is my good buddy Justin. I've known this guy for a while. He was a listener for the original Vivecast and was a listener, of course, with VR Roundtable. So I'm actually relatively good friends with MAME Fan. In fact, he hooked me up with a code. This is a long time ago, but he bought me a code for Winlands for the HTC Vive, which I was actually scared of Winlands because I thought it was a puke fest, because I thought, oh my God, moving through these trees at blazing speeds like Spider-Man, this is going to be a puke fest. And little do I find out that Winlands is one of my favorite VR games of all time. I really love that game. It's beautiful. Really like that game. So anyway, here's what MAME Fan had to say. It looked like ass to me on Monday. On Tuesday, post-beta, it was less terrible, but still blurry until I turned off TAA off in console. It was tolerable then. I have to have Steam VR super sampling at 1.0 for acceptable, barely, performance on my i7 8700 1080 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM. See, this is the point I'm making, is if I run out and I spend $900, even if I spent more money and I got a brand new processor and I get a brand new RAM and build an entirely new PC, it doesn't guarantee me dick. That's the thing that I hate about, it's one thing, it's like if somebody, if $3,000 just fell onto me by accident, if I walk outside of my house and I'm walking down the street and there's a bag, and I open the bag and there's $3,000 in it, and I go take that $3,000 and I build the most kick-ass computer I can, there's no guarantee of anything. This game could still run like ass. That is the problem with PC gaming in a nutshell. It really does bother me, because it's one thing to pay the piper, but it's another thing to pay the piper and still have issues. So, he's saying it looks like ass. It's funny, I'm on a 970. I don't really feel like it looks like ass. Now, I am having hitching and performance issues, but I don't know. Maybe you guys are just a little bit more, how do we put it? A little bit more uppity on your games there, or a little bit snobby. It runs like ass, it runs like ass. Maybe you're a little bit on that kind of a belief system there, but I don't know. He does say, I've also never tried PSVR. Yeah. If he tried PSVR, if he played Skyrim VR in PSVR, you want to see something that looks like ass. You know, Skyrim VR on PSVR can look like ass, but at least it runs really freaking well. That is the one good news about it. Okay, and I have another comment. I believe this is, no, it's not the last comment. Okay, so I have a couple more comments here. I have Dylan Reinking says, I was severely disappointed in the launch of Fallout 4 VR, this being mostly to my extremely high expectations. The blurriness, lack of control, and overall lack of instructions for new VR mechanics, i.e. swimming, left a really bad first impression. I almost gave up on Fallout 4 VR due to being caught in a game-breaking save glitch due to autosave. However, I love Fallout. The feeling of being there in the aftermath of the Great War, being in the buildings, the struggle of survival, and feeling like Dogmeat is an actual companion keep me hopeful for the sheer gameplay value there is in Fallout VR. I do not have performance issues considering I run a 1080 Ti and an Intel i7 7700K, which is higher than recommended. Also, I can run this at 5 times super sampling on the Vive. Another issue is lack of being able to hold weapons left-handed. However, I have this issue with almost all VR games as I am left eye dominant. Okay, so some interesting takes from Dylan as far as this goes. Now, here is a guy, he does have a 1080 Ti. He does have the 7700K, which I think that is the recommended CPU that a lot of people will tell you to get. He's saying he's having no performance problems. See, that's the crazy thing about PC gaming. One guy says everything is running butter smooth. Another guy is saying that there's a lot of problems. Now, he's still saying, though, that the blurriness, the lack of control, the lack of instructions, glitchy issues, you know, they rear their ugly heads. But at the same time, he loves that feeling of being in the aftermath. And that's what it is for me, man. That's what Fallout in general is just catnip to somebody like me, because I love post-apocalyptic stuff. I just love this idea of a post-apocalypse where everything has fallen to shit and you're in this wasteland, but you're starting over from scratch. You can be anybody you want to be. All the rules have been thrown off the table. You have to survive. You have to just find a way to live, and you're out there in this wasteland, and that's what I love about Fallout. And so I played this game yesterday, played it more, had a lot of performance issues, actually was having some really bad performance issues, had to kind of back out of it at a certain point, but there were brief moments when everything just worked perfect. I was in that one situation, you know, when you're in Concord and you're talking to the main guy there, and he's talking to you, and he's talking about how they had 20 people a week ago, then they were down to 8 people, now they only have 5 people left. You know, the guy with the cowboy hat, he's basically talking to you about everything. I forget his name, but you're right there, and I was having that experience, and it looked great. He looked like a human that was there, that was 3D, and he's talking to me, and there's a guy over there working on the terminal, and all of that looked great, and the performance was great. But then at other times it's like jittery, and it's like the gun is like, you know, moving like this, and it's all jittery, and it kind of gives me a headache and stuff, and I try to kind of power my way through it. So it's weird because it'll work pretty good for me for little periods of time, and then it will work like shit other periods of time. So it really is this like love or hate it kind of thing. So I kind of understand what Dylan is saying there. Okay, and then Oculus Ready just had a comment, Sweeviver, ? And so, okay, so I got to explain this. So this kind of goes into how the sausage is made. So basically, when I'm editing these shows, what I do is, if I just take images and I put images over here, okay, I'm getting my hand in the right spot. This is where the images appear, over here in this little blue area. If I just take still images and swap through various pictures, right, it takes forever to edit my show. So if I'm able to find a video that I can use that actually has some length to it, then that helps me edit the show a lot better. And so what I did, because yesterday I knew that it was basically just going to be a huge long Fallout discussion for minutes upon minutes upon minutes. Most of the show was going to be all Fallout 4, and this show, of course, is the same freaking thing. It's all pretty much Fallout 4. I'm damn near the 30-minute mark, and we've mostly talked all Fallout 4. And so what I did was, Sweeviver, actually, I've reached out to him before on VR Game Rankings. Some of the videos, like if you go to some of our game profile pages at VR Game Rankings, if I can't find the official trailer from the actual developer, I will look and see if Sweeviver has a video on it. I actually sent him a private message and said, hey man, is it cool if I link your videos on the website for some when I can't find the official video? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, link it, no problem. He was really cool with that. And so I like Sweeviver. I just like the guy. He's positive, you know, he's got a great outlook. He's such a positive guy. I think his videos, I think he does a great job. Look, I don't speak any other language but English. This guy can speak probably multiple languages, and I think he does an outstanding job with his videos. I think he does a really good job. So I found some of his content. Now, where I messed up is I didn't actually watch the entire thing, because what you want to do is when you put someone else's content in, or anybody's video really, when it goes to a human that's talking, I really need to cut that stuff out. And I didn't know that there was going to be long segments where he was just going to be sitting there talking, and that's probably what looks really weird, and I should have edited those parts out. So that's the thing with Sweeviver. I actually didn't contact him and ask him if I could put his video in my video, so hopefully he's cool with it. But you know, I promote the guy. You know, I really think he's one of the better YouTubers out there that's covering VR. I just like his energy, his positive attitude. I think he's a cool dude. I'd love to kick back with him and drink a beer with him or something like that. So, you know, much love to Sweeviver, and so that's why I used his video in there, and that's kind of how the sausage is made. I just wanted a long Fallout gameplay video. He had one, so you know, that's what I did, but I should have actually watched it. So I kind of saved myself a lot of time by not watching it and then going further into the video, editing it, and just doing the rendering process. Later in the day, watched a little bit of that video, and I saw Sweeviver on there just talking, and I was like, ah man, I should have edited that out. But that's what happened there, Oculus Ready. So anyway, guys, we're way past the 30-minute mark. So long to run so long on this show, but you know what? I felt like we had some good topics today. I thought the Windows mixed reality fire sale, I thought that was a great topic. We had to get into that, and I love being able to comment on all of what you guys had to say about these games. So I love the comments, love that I was able to talk about this. I actually have some more stuff to talk about, but we're just out of time, so it's just going to have to wait till tomorrow. So I will see you guys on Thursday. So this has been episode 52 for Wednesday, December 13th, and I will check out everybody tomorrow. So have a wonderful Wednesday. Get back in there, man. Give Fallout another chance. Let Fallout survive. It is going to save VR, right? It's going to save VR. Okay, maybe it's not quite saving VR, but hopefully it won't drag it down to hell either. So we'll have to just see how that goes. I'm going to continue to bang away at it and continue to try to play it. And but anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.